you, Father, for all your many blessings, Father. We just come seeking you and asking for your wisdom in our work session as we trying to make decisions for the county and best decide what we need to vote on, Father. Just give us wisdom and help us, Father. And we ask for your blessings on this county. In Jesus' name, amen. Sheriff, you got something?
Last month, so.
That's right.
Double taken.
July, the current population now is 57. The month of July, we bonded or in the sentence or court release at 72 inmates. We had 820 inmate work detail man hours. There's 144 random trash collected from roadways, 19 tires, 17 pieces of furniture collected from roadways. There was 10 felony warrants served, 14 misdemeanor in violation warrants served, 61 civil papers, 11 felony on view arrest, 23 misdemeanor on view arrest. There's 136 incident offense reports completed, had 1 sex offender compliance check. There's 16,644 log patrol miles and business checks. There's 1,609 business checks. We got a deputy that is graduating academy Thursday, August 10th, and then we have another one we scheduled to start September 4th. And of course, once they graduate, it will be full.
Y'all have any questions?
We do have, what I had talked about last month while John was out of town about the deputy shift supervisor stuff. Thankful for Emily. She had sat down and studied some stuff for us and ran some numbers for us. And we come up with the best plan, or the best, I guess, to kind of mirror what other departments are doing and what we have in the jail and what dispatch has got with shift supervisors. So these numbers, and Emily can come in on the numbers, these are the hardcore numbers. What the difference would be $2,080.19. And again, I put on the front of that sheet what their duties was, or what their duties will be, and these two deputies are actually working that now. And I've brought Clay with us because Clay is acting in one of those roles now. And I mean, he can tell you that it's a lot to that. It's a lot for these extra additional duties than what a regular deputy is having to operate with. So, but if you've got any questions, we would like to ask for y'all to consider this, especially with that. You know, it's not going to be that big of an amount of a difference in money. It's not the dollar that we initially looked at. This would end up being about 45 cents, and it would move 2 of our positions, and I think that's how Emily looked at it, would move 2 of our positions to a shift supervisor status. And again, it would be the same things that I explained last month. It would be revocable. If they did something, didn't perform well, then we could move them. We could promote another and move them back to a regular deputy position. It wouldn't be one of these things that once they're there, they're stuck. We could move them around. And like I said, with our budget, with the turnover that we've had, I mean, you know, I think, you know, within our regular budget, we could handle this pretty easily with this small of an increase, looking at the big picture. And like I said, Emily done a good job at helping us with working on it and looking at it and trying to find the best plan for the commission. So,
Is that a job description we've already got? Or is that
No,
already new?
this would be additional duties to. So these 2 positions not only would cover their patrol deputy positions, this would be additional.
You created 2 new positions. Right?
Essentially, yeah. But it's not going to be 2 additional positions to what we already have. This will
You're gonna
be.
eliminate, you're gonna drop 17.
No, these 2, and Emily could help explain this. These two positions would go up from their current grade at 1788 now to the 1833.
So you're actually just, it's the same position, you're just changing the
Two
grade.
deputies will just
Additional
get,
charge, additional
two
duties.
deputies will just get additional duties.
These job titles come to, create two job titles.
He's taking these two, creating them, moving them up and adding duties to them.
Yeah, it would just be,
He's adding additional duties to them.
we're not adding a position by all means. We're just adding additional duties to two
There's
people.
a title that we already, this we already have.
These duties never were in place before.
No, ma'am, and where it comes into effect is John and I, before, while Dennis was sheriff, we handled the evidence and we handled a lot of this oversight. But with everything that we've got going on now, he and I cannot, and liability wise, it doesn't look good for him and I to handle the evidence. You know, one in charge don't need to be handling evidence, so we have to pass the evidence duties off to two different deputies, which was Clay. Clay handles firearms, and he can tell you there's how many firearms right now on inventory?
That's well over, I think, 300, no, let's say 600 for rifles, and probably 400 pistols, maybe, something like that.
So it's adding a lot of duties to those two that John and I was handling when we were in an investigator role, and well, when he was just regular deputy at that point, he started. So like I said, this is not creating two additional positions. This is just giving a little bit of an incentive to these guys that's working their butts off, handling all these extra duties. And it's just, like I said, it's just adding these duties to those two people.
And this is the top out pay for both of these.
That would be, and
No, this would be starting pay. This is not top out. This is what they'll come in at.
Okay,
They're currently at the 1788, but they'll go to 1833.
okay, the 1788, is that topped out there?
It's topped out unless there's a step increase or a step raise or any kind of raise, it's topped out. But it's not topped out on pay grade 16, no.
I said, it's 45 cents an hour, and, I mean, place here to tell you, it's a huge undertaking with, especially with evidence, not counting when they come in first thing in the mornings, they're reviewing reports, they're sending reports back to the deputies, and still, even when they review reports and send them back to get corrections, whatever they need to do, then I look at each and every report as well. And it's just, there's just, you know, this is just the basic of what they do, with the number of you know, the extra hour, I say the extra hours, the extra time that they have to put into this is huge. And I mean, if I was them too, I wouldn't do it for 45 cents, but I think, you know, that's a good incentive for those two individuals, because this is a lot of work.
You guys want to add any resolution, or you want to the agenda or anything? You want to put it on the consent agenda? Okay. Everybody else good with putting it on the consent agenda?
That's fine.
Thank you.
I have a question.
He's got,
You mentioned the firearms. Do we have an avenue to dispose of those?
We're working on that, and John worked on it more so than I have. What the issue is we have problems. We have to house the state troopers' guns. Like if they arrest somebody and they have a gun, then we have to house those. So we're trying at this point, and that's what Clay's been spending a lot of his time on, is trying to figure out what guns is whose. If they were condemned to the sheriff's office, then we have to ensure that condemnation and forfeiture paperwork was filled out correctly to see whether we can destroy it, whether we can sell it, what have you. So we're in that process now. We're trying to go, and that's a lot of time that they're spending on trying to get to that point. I know on the gun side, it is a nightmare. because a lot of times in the past, it's changed hands from Dennis to Lance, to Michael Gore, to Drew Norton, John, then Clay. So over time, it has become a mess. And so we're working on that right now, trying to figure out.
We just have, I think, did you finish the inventory?
No, we go back there.
I started the inventory when I took it. I didn't make it probably halfway through it. Trying to make sure I laid my hands on every gun, and then he picked up where I left off. And like I said, we still.
I finished long guns, and we want to go back to handguns to see what exactly we have.
And then you'll have to send all that to the DA's office, get them to check the case, to see if it's been condemned, or if it can be released back to the person, or whatever.
Has this been done in the past?
Years ago, it was.
I don't know how it's
Sitting
been.
on it and
Yeah,
it's accumulated.
I couldn't tell you.
So the, what I seen, y'all got guns that's over 20 years.
Oh, they some in there,
That-
probably in the
that-
80s.
The people's not even living anymore.
Right. And that's like I was right before he took over, and I got one that recovered. It was a stolen gun from, it was in a burglary in 80, I can't remember exactly, it was in 80 something, had State Farm Insurance. We recovered it, actually went and picked it up for me in Birmingham, brought it back, and I called State Farm, but they don't want it. They paid out the guy, and they told us, the sheriff's office, no.
So,
They're stuck with it.
to answer your question, we're trying to go through and see what we can, and the ones that we can sell, if they're safe, and if they're that's one thing, we don't want to distribute, to sell any gun that's not safe. We're going to look at it at that point and see if we need to destroy it. We have an avenue of destroying, potentially through CMP, and if we can sell it, then we're going to look at those avenues of selling as well. So,
Well, you guys shouldn't have to look after that many firearms.
I agree.
It's a nightmare.
I could be exaggerating the numbers.
You know, I'm.
And like some of them, we can't, like the burglary truck, and we can't get rid of it.
If both parties are there,
I think you got to hold on to all that stuff.
well.
That's the same way with this evidence.
When I was over the evidence, I've got a back wall in the evidence room, that was nothing but murder cases, and this was resulting back, back in the 70s and 80s that we just can't get rid of. We have to hold on to it, so.
You know, I would think if they were still in prison, but if the party's not living, you'd think there would be no purpose in it.
I don't know if it's because they want to go after, if the possibility of going after estates, and I don't know. But we were told that we can't get, there's boxes in there that Dennis Green looked at me and said, whatever you do, never ever get rid of that box, and that's dealing with a couple of different murders and then one thing. And there's something else, some of these cases that are still open cases, we've got all of that stuff, and it just keeps piling up. Rape kits, we can't get rid of rape kits, that keeps piling up. So it's a huge undertaking for our two evidence guys.
Like, yeah, for money.
So.
Thank you.
What do you think?
Yeah, let me ask you a question. What did you ever come to decide on your maintenance agreement?
I still haven't heard nothing. You talking about with the city?
No, I'm talking about with,
Oh, well, we actually got a bill, when was that? Was the Buster Miles bill?
Yeah.
So we looked at this thing, and they did help us at some wholesale pricing on some parts.
This morning, we got a quote on a vehicle that's there, and you can tell where they, if I can find, he marked out all of the other prices and put Parts House on the top of it. So, and it was almost a $500 difference from what they were going to charge to what the prices was coming from a Parts House. They also helped us out on their labor too. From my math on the hours, they dropped the labor, or for this particular job, now I'm not saying that they're going to do this, but for this particular job, the labor was at $120 an hour versus $137. So, I think, because John and I actually had a meeting with them last week.
We went back down there after me and he went.
We expressed some huge concerns, and they seemed like they understood. We explained to them what we was getting and the prices we were paying at the other places compared to what we're paying with them, and I think we got their attention a little bit with some issues.
so you're happy now?
As of right now, it's better than it was.
Okay.
can't promise you next week.
I knew the last time me and you talked.
Yeah, I just, yeah,
Well,
maybe it's all right.
Miss Fuller, you got anything?
Nothing, we're getting geared up to collect y'all's taxes again, here in just a few weeks, gonna get ready to send out bills and that sort of thing. Is there anything that y'all need from me?
How are we on our, budget? It's getting everything in for the budget and all, so we can just
Yeah,
call, once we get it in our hand, call them.
Okay, well, we mailed out abstracts, so you didn't receive your copy of the abstract for the county? That's fine, I'll email it. We typically mail those in mail form, but I'll email that back to you because abstracts are done, we know what we're potentially gonna be collected on, and it's more than we have in the past, so, it appears that we're, even now, we're still, the tax revenues are up, just based on values, sales, actual sales in the county are way up. If you know of anybody that, they've slowed down as far as the quickness of sales, have slowed down a little bit, but the potential in what we have it appraised at and what it's selling at, there is a gap there, because people want to be in Cleburne County. So, I mean, we've got people from all over the country that are finding, I don't know if they're throwing a dart or what, I don't know, but they're finding their way to Cleburne County and they're paying top dollar to get these homes. I know that people from Colorado bought my son's house. I mean, it was on the market for a whole 2 days and it sold. So it's really fast moving, especially the downtown properties. They're really selling at high rates of speed, and but we look like we're going to be collecting a good bit more than we have in the past, and that still looks like it's on the uptick for that.
And I will say, from what I have entered so far of this year, and I don't have all my final numbers as far as my anticipated revenues and expenses for the year, the revenues do look like they're up some. Sales tax is up, some of the other numbers are up too. So I know we have got a little bit higher revenue for this year compared to last year.
Our sales tax, are they not up a good bit more than,
They're a fair amount up.
wow,
Yeah.
we should have a good increase.
Sales
in
tax and SSUT are both up.
Mhm.
So
And
I'll
all
have
sales tax, wow.
And I will have your first, version of your budget for the year before you go to on your trip. And, I do have a schedule for you guys too for budget meetings, so. That's up to you.
Mr.
Then you
Daniels,
make your response.
you got,
Okay, thank you.
you got something? Mr. Daniels with the corner,
Yes, sir.
how you doing?
Good, how are you, sir? I had got an email from Lisa that said I needed to come to y'all and talk about my approval for my deputy coroners. I don't know, I know everything should be approved with Paul and Clint, but I would like to add Sawyer Downs as a deputy coroner, if y'all would approve that. Y'all got any questions about it, feel free to give them to me. But I would like for you to understand that, you can't just go out and find just anybody that wants to do this job, more especially wants to do this job for the pay that they get. John, Patrick, Clay, all tell you, sometimes it's not the easiest thing to do what we do. And if you got somebody willing to do it, I would greatly appreciate you considering him to do that.
I think the only question that that I might talk to you is making sure there's no ethics violation being made.
And from what I understood, the county attorney came back and said that he could be a deputy as long as he was approved by
That's
God.
correct. Okay.
That's all I got. Y'all got anything for me?
We appreciate you coming.
Thanks, sir.
Put in a resolution on the consent agenda to that effect.
Everybody give consent? Ms.
Kavner.
So we're dealing with weather right now, so I'm gonna have to run out. So if you'll excuse me on that. But I just wanted to come today and discuss a little bit about the City of Heflin deal that we've got going on. I don't really know. I don't really know the direction that I need to go in, but I just wanted to express, just from my perspective as the emergency manager, and ensure that the commission knew kind of where we stood on the dissemination of the single PSAP that we have and what that would mean for us. You know, I've spoken with the chairman a couple of times on it and expressed to him that it's imperative that both the commission and the city council understand what that would mean for us. And, you know, how many years we've worked to build what we have, and to understand what we really have is something that numerous counties don't have. And it is really sad to see that we can't come together and figure something out. I mean, you know, we're actually ahead of the game on our centralized PSAP. Like I said, there are many counties that contact us and, you know, build their structure around what we have. And we're, you know, 10 to 15 years ahead of some counties. And we sure don't want to be 10 to 15 years behind the curve. And, you know, just as far as an emergency response, our county is too small. And we are so intertwined in numerous capacities, law, fire, and EMS. And I just hope that you understand how critical it is, and how, you know, I would ask you if there's anything that we can do to sit down and work this out. You know, I would ask that we do that, because it is so important. Furthermore, I, you know, like to live in a world where everything goes my way, but, you know, pending it doesn't.
Talk a little bit about if someone calls 911, it's a city thing, what happens there by law, and what are you
at this
required to do? And we need to double check this. They want to hear this also from the county attorney, I'm sure.
Okay, so at this point, being a centralized dispatch center, so we dispatch and we accept all 911 calls for the county. And those are two different things. So we accept the calls and then we dispatch them out. So when you talk about taking an entity away from the centralized dispatch, that means they would have to have their own standing dispatch, their own employees, their own equipment, their own frequencies, their own everything mini as to what our center already has. And we have top-notch equipment. So that would mean now we accept a call in, we process the call by policy, firewall EMS, we dispatch that out by policy. So our center would accept the call and we would get that to the appropriate agency. So let's just say the city of Cleburne broke off and they did their own. That means that we would accept the call, we would have to get the information we need as the county. Like I said, we're so intertwined, we have agencies backing each other up and all that, all policy related. And then we would have to take the call and transfer them out to their dispatch, and then their dispatch would have to get the same information and get it out. So the only thing that we are bound by law to do is accept that 911 call and get that information, get them to the appropriate agency. So that's time. And anyone that's ever worked for another agency or county or state will tell you, you do not want to be passed around. And that's the beauty of what we have now. That's the beauty of our setup, that we accept the calls and we dispatch them, we hold all the information, and when you start having to transfer folks off, you know, you're really doing your citizens an injustice, because time matters.
Let's talk about another issue. I know the county takes care of the fire, but if the city of Heflin decides to do their own dispatching, what will happen with the Heflin Fire, because are they different?
So it would be a city, it's a city agency, so I'm not sure on that. So let me tell you how that would look for our agency. If we were to get a structure fire, our volunteer fire departments most of them are relatively very, very, very small. So when we input an address in our CAT, it shows us the primary fire station as well as the secondary response. And so you can imagine Heflin Fire is secondary response on a lot, but they're also primary. So we would have to dispatch our guys, and then we would have to transfer it to them unless they wanted to change the policy entirely and just be an island by themselves. So that would be, I guess, whatever the city would decide. Which again, we're too small of an entity to have islands all over the county. We're just too small. And it's not good. It's not good for our citizens, in short.
What, have you talked to anybody from Heflin? I mean, as far as the commission, as far as me, one thing I know about the deal is what Robbie said up here a couple of months ago, that they were looking to do something else, and that's all.
Yeah. So I have just sat down with the chief. I have not, he did ask me to come to a council meeting. And so, you know, past what was said in that meeting that day, I kind of asked to get an opinion on what I should do about that, and was told it probably would be better to hold off. Just because they said no more talk, it's with the attorneys, that kind of deal. But I've spoken with the chief, that's the only person I've spoken to, and I don't know, and I've asked Ron several times, that, you know, please, let's just have a special call meeting, you know, surely there's something we can do to sit down and work this out, we have to work this out. And he said the same thing that the city had said, that, you know, it's with the attorneys now, and they weren't gonna, and shortly.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all heard the mayor say that they weren't gonna do anything until their attorneys. But I also, and I understand you've been to a couple of their city council meetings, and I understand that there's considerations that they think that they may can get back some of the money back from this time to back 2001. And they were holding that.
Right now, I asked them to just hold off and not do anything until all the commissioners are back in place and let us kind of talk. And they did say they would give us that opportunity. So let's just wait and see. Give Emmett time to get back, and let's put our heads together. And we're one county. We all have to work together.
Well,
And I did get some Attorney General's opinion, and hopefully the lawyers got them too, I'm sure he has. And I've been reading them. So, and I'm also would like to find out what actually, as far as on the jail side, kind of get statistics on what the city of Heflin has actually paid out over a 3-year period.
Okay.
And that would be like, once they become a county, after that period is over with, they're a county inmate. So the city no longer pays.
3 days, you mean?
The 3 days, or if they're a felony. If they're a felony, they're a county inmate, right?
Well, until they've had their 72-hour hearing.
Until they
Now, whether that's 12 hours, 71 hours, it's,
Yeah.
they're theirs until
Probably
that
averages 2 to 3 days that they're still
Most
a city inmate, and then they become a county inmate. What
yeah, most
concerns
times about 3
me,
days.
what concerns me now is that inmates are being housed somewhere else. And what I'm reading in here, we have to go get them and bring them back.
They-
We do. So then we're having to pay that. It says it in here.
I believe you.
It says.
I'm not
it in
saying
here.
I don't believe you.
But that's what I'm saying, that's another cost. So this may end up costing us more money. And what if something happens while they become once that period's over, they're county inmates. We become responsible.
Last full year of numbers of what they paid for inmate housing, the city of Heflin, would have been FY '22, that's a whole year to look at. It was about 25,000, just slightly over 25,000 is what they paid for a whole year of inmate housing in the city of Heflin.
That's the
But are they considering suing us for the money that's been,
And they didn't say anything like that to me.
but how are they gonna get back that money? But they are trying to figure out a way to get back the money that the county has charged them since 2001.
No, everyone wants to work together. That's the reason I said all of us.
But
needs
what was
to-
that document about you asked them to hold?
And I didn't, there wasn't a document, I just asked them to not make any decision until all 4 commissioners were back in play.
But it was about trying to go back and get residual
They
money.
never said that, they just said that they wanted that Attorney General and what they're getting is in their favor, not ours, but now their attorney has to look at that.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not-
yeah,
That's not.
yeah, I'm just
But
trying to figure out.
The thing is they're in our county. And we've got to figure out how to make it work, because we're one county. And
Well, the
we've
figures
got to
that I
figure out
have
how to make it
on-
work.
The figures that I did on our behalf, whether plus or minus, it was, less than $5,000. And, I know that the city has said all or none, so they will go with all our services or none, which, I would never want someone's decision on the services that we provide as a 911 center, as an emergency operations center, as a entity that provides that service to be kind of a bartering back and forth, because our services and what we do is that important. But I would also say that for $4,000 or $5,000, the years of service that we've put in and the policies and how well we all work together and the flow of emergency response, it's worth about $4,000 or $5,000.
And
I hate to see it dismantled for that.
I think right now that we need to meet and talk and work this out, because this is part of our county, and we don't want to break it up.
I did,
And I think there was a lot of hurt feelings because of some comments that was made in our meeting here, and that was uncalled for. It wasn't, it's not the way we should conduct ourselves. And so
What did we do wrong in here?
we were making statements of just, they can go build their own jail. That's so unprofessional. We should never say things like that. The city of Cleburne is.
I don't remember that
Cleburne
being
County.
said, though.
It was recorded and it was played back to them. They got to hear it.
Was
And
it
the thing
during the
is,
meeting?
that we're one county. Our sheriff's department and the city, from what I'm hearing from them, works great together. So we shouldn't try to, break this up. I believe that we sit down, we can talk through this and make it work. So I think that, once Emmett gets back and we have that meeting and have an understanding.
That's primarily what I wanted to come in and let you guys know, is that just not as the director of 911, in my capacity as the emergency manager, to encourage you guys to, it is critical.
We
We don't want to dismantle that.
Because Crystal, let me ask you this, because I have this problem at Muscatine. Because when a call is at the state line, it goes to Georgia, then it has to revert back here. I get complaints because there's a delay in getting my ambulance. That's what's gonna
That's
happen.
what's gonna happen.
Same thing in Mr. Hill's, same thing in your district. On those lines, they are reverted, his is reverted to Georgia, his goes to Calhoun County. We don't want this.
I don't think ours goes to Georgia now, because Carroll County refused to go across the state line.
Well, I think she's just talking about the calls in general, like if the cell phone is close to the Georgia line. it knows.
Randolph County,
Yeah.
I think y'all get that.
There's nothing we can do about that.
No, there's not, it's
Right.
just.
No, but I'm just saying, you see that I know from people calling me want to know why that ambulance couldn't get there. And from the time, and we went back and looked at some of the calls, from the time the center got the call, it was a short dip, but they're relying on the relay coming from another entity to them. So, and we don't.
So I went ahead, I did go ahead and I sent out contracts to Cleburne EMS, Cleburne, and the city of Cleburne. I sent those Thursday or Friday. And so I just wanted to let you know, I did do that. Nothing changed, of course. We, I had spoken on you guys and told you that we would not increase unless we just absolutely had to. And we're okay at this point, so I did go ahead and send those. If I hear anything, I'll let you know. But, if I can answer anything for you guys, if you'd like for me to attend anything with y'all, please let me know. I'd be glad to, or if you get any kind of figures or call stats or, whatever it is that you need, I'd be glad to do that, so.
And I think the city council, hearing from you and them understanding how a dispatch center works would be a good thing. But I'm.
You've made that clear, though. I mean, you've talked to them about that. I mean, their chief, right?
Yeah, their chief, and like I said, he did ask me to come, but that's totally, I'm not sure if that's a good idea, bad idea, or what the case, but he just wanted me to go and kind of explain kind of the services that we provide, and, that he and I work very well together, those kind of things, so. I haven't been formally invited from the city council. Usually the mayor or the city clerk will say, hey, can you come and do a presentation? And I have done that before, but I have not been contacted formally and asked to come down yet, so.
It's embarrassing to me that the city and the county can't work together and resolve it,
I'm very hopeful. I hope that it's very important, and it would be.
I've tried to catch Robbie several times and haven't been able to.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's him or the council or attorney, I don't know, but we need to find out.
Well, through the years, there's always been little catches here and there. I mean, it goes back, even in 2001, when we were looking at, we passed the one-cent sales tax. That's where all this, the mayor and then they could do one overnight. We have to go through legislation. So, then the next administration, there was some conflict. And the next, and usually it's just typical, this is human nature. You have a honeymoon and then the honeymoon's over. So the honeymoon's over.
I just sensed a little bit of urgency because the contract ends in September, and like I told Ryan, I just didn't want to go right up to the last second, and then because it doesn't really affect a whole lot of people but our center and his department. So I didn't want there to be a complete utter chaos, And
Well, the budget's coming up and you've got to do a budget, and then you're trying to decide how. You need some input from the commission on if you were mentioning doing a hiring freeze.
What I told Ron is that, I've been, I was born a baby dispatcher and I worked by myself numerous years ago. And when we had the shooting with Officer Stovall, that completely changed everything. And from that point on, the commission and our directors at the time said we will never have one person on it, and that's what I would never want to go back to, because our call volume, we just can't manage that, especially we're a dual department, and that's what I think a lot of people forget. We do EMA functions and 911 functions, so when we have weather, a major event, I don't have a staff, it's Sheila and I, so we depend on our staff, our 911 staff, and I just wanted to make that clear too, is that, it would be my recommendation that we couldn't go down to one person per shift. And that's the only thing that we can do in our department, because we run such a tight ship. I mean, we don't have extra money. We pay our phone bills because they are major amounts, in our vendors and our employees, and that's all we pay. So I told Ryan that, I would, like some direction. I mean, do I present you two budgets? What would you guys want me to do? Because a cut like that is $75,000, and that's an employee and a half's pay. It's a big chunk out of our budget, and what's the idea on that? Do I keep going as such? And we have enough cash in our fund to sustain us, and that's why we worked very hard several years ago to build that for equipment and things like that. So it would be my hopes that I could just do a hiring freeze until it's time, that we get this worked out with the city, and then make a decision past that. But
I think that's what we have to do, because we can get with the city council and you know, from what I gathered from the city council, it's not that they don't want to work it out. It's just that there was some bad comments made that, and I don't, you know, they're very.
Was it made during the meeting?
It was made in this meeting, sitting right here.
In our meeting?
Commission, yes. Those comments were made, and it, you know, it very, it makes some, and if we were in their shoes, we would feel the same way. And comments like that should never be made. So I'm just asking that, you know.
Your question about how to move forward, you could answer that better than we could, you know. I mean, you've been in this game a while, it's not your first week, you know, so. I would be comfortable with you making a decision and go with it.
Okay. I'll think about it, and I really will do what I feel like is best overall. And, you know, I talked that over with Ryan, and I told him that it would be that we would keep the staffing that we have currently and do a hiring freeze until we were settled and knew. But I would definitely want to continue with the level of service that we provide at this point.
Are you one short now?
We are like two short, 2 temps short. So, and they're just temporary positions, so we always like to have those temporaries in training so that they're ready to go. This training takes months and months. That's what I was gonna present in our budget.
All right, any other questions?
Right,
Yes, sir.
Say something. Once attorneys get involved, we need to watch what we say without running it by our attorney. Because things get complicated when we get attorneys involved, so. And it could hurt us a lot more than help us. I wish we could have sat down before the attorneys got involved and talked, but they drug the attorneys into it.
I think they're basically just asking for attorney general opinion, is all they ask for.
I was up here and see had 3 attorneys working on it.
The legal municipality attorneys is what they're talking about.
They're just no different than our attorney that we have, that gives us advice on what to do. They have their attorney that does basically the same thing.
Alabama Legal Municipality acts as basically their ACCA. They have attorneys on staff that help with questions that their municipality might have.
And that's all Robert was referring to, is that he wanted to get and ask questions to find out, you know, if what they were looking at, which direction to go with.
I still wouldn't sit down and talk to them without our attorney, but that's just me.
So I believe that everybody needs to work together to make it work for the whole county. Period.
Could it be that we request this county and the city attorneys to sit down with the council and the commission and discuss it before too long?
I don't have a problem with it.
If you could get them together, that would be great. I mean,
I just feel more comfortable with him being back here because that is his district. And he will be back week after that. He'll be back a week from
Then you
Friday.
said 16th or something.
He's gonna be back on the 16th, and you all will be leaving for the ACCA conference on the 21st, if I'm not mistaken, which is on Monday. So there's a very small window if you wanna try to get it in August.
Trust me, I'm sure he'll be talking to him. But we need to get it worked out, but I just am not comfortable until he gets back because it is his district. And we do owe him that opportunity.
Calendars. Do y'all want to meet as a group before it? And, you know, we're all, you know, everything has to be said out in public, so, I mean, I know some things are said,
Well, you know, which I'm glad that we got, that our meetings are recorded I'm thankful for that, because the public has the right to know what goes on. And that's, you know, of course, they review the reporting.
I understand that Matt been said, I just don't remember, I don't know if it was said in a regular meeting or a work session or what. Was it one of our commissioners or one of us or what? It don't matter. Mercy me. I don't know, I just believe.
If you haven't said it, say it, you're not gonna hurt my feelings.
No, I mean, it's fine. We said it's over with. And
Business is business, and that's.
Yeah, I agree.
That's sort of childish, but.
I agree, business is business. It's nothing personal.
But, you know.
The same thing's been said on the opposite side. It's not personal. It's been said to me several times. This is not personal. It's just business. Ain't nobody mad. But there is, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt both entities because we work
It
together.
hurts the people.
This is, it's almost like, you know, two incomes in a household, you know, we can be a lot more, get a lot more, bang for our buck. So, all right, thank you.
Thank y'all.
I think we've covered everybody. Ms. Lisa?
Okay, my first question here, if you don't mind, is to make sure I understand on the consent agenda, the deputy pay change, the deputy job positions, are these new job positions? Because they're gonna have new titles and new descriptions.
It's a new description.
So it's a new, we need to change our org chart.
It's a,
And we just wait to, what you're
It's a-
changing,
you're creating a new job, that's what you're doing.
It's creating two jobs and
you're
removing two.
And removing two.
you're eliminating what, 17?
That's what, basically the way Emily said that it would happen would, two of those deputy positions would be changed from deputy positions to shift supervisor
So we're taking
positions.
two off and we're adding two.
But you can't do that. You gotta eliminate two, create two. You can't just say you're gonna
That's right,
change
can't
it.
swap them.
Yeah.
You got to eliminate that.
So that we need a resolution to change the org chart and the pay for those two people.
There'll be two, if it passes, there'll be two less deputies, then there'll be two new supervisors.
I just want to be sure clear because I'm going to be creating resolutions.
Also, the way he said that if they fail to do the job, they can move right back.
Right, and that would be part of that job description is that it would be.
Inside
That'd be
his.
something you would have to write it. Or that'd have to be in the job description.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have to be in there to keep you from having a violation.
Emily is well aware of, because we sat down with her, so she's really been helpful with this, so I would imagine that questions on that side, she could probably be a big help on, because she knows what the intentions are with the sheriff's office, so.
Because it says you don't, it doesn't say anything about if they fail to do the job, that they're being promoted. See, in here, it doesn't say anything about it.
It was, basically, that's just the job description is what we provided. That would be in addition to the deputies, their regular job description that they have.
Once again, I'm trying to make sure I understand what you all want before I write a resolution for something and then we end up having to change it in the meeting and.
So you think it would be two resolutions really need to be done?
Yeah, because then you would have to pass HR to create those two job descriptions.
Shift supervisor.
So y'all good, both of those be on consent agenda or what?
Yeah.
Or new business?
On new business.
Both of them on new business? All right, they go on new business.
Okay. All right, we will also need, resolutions, Mr. Hendricks has requested that part of County Road 63 be done with his ARPA money, and also the $87,000 that was set aside for, in his discretionary fund. Remember when you all divided up and did a $87,000 from the reserve account?
Could you create us a new one
I'll
of these?
create you a new one. I was gonna do that today, but decided not to because I knew we were about to change it if we did this IAC resolution
The
for
$10,000
payment
that,
at 63.
I think it was $10,000 that I was took out of ours too, has that been put back?
Yes, it's gonna be back. on my version, I don't know if it's on your copy or not, but it has been put back.
Just do us a new one, cause
Okay.
back there's a
Yeah,
new one.
I update it as funds change, so I can create a new one and get that, like I said, and you will probably.
Basically, all we doing is just using your money.
Yeah, but it's not be two resolutions because they don't all of them.
Both of them on new consent.
Ain't that right?
What?
Yes.
Part
that
of
would be
it,
too.
part of it is,
Part of it is $87,000, you know, you come back and wanted some more money, so everybody got money.
right,
So it's using
That money to do it. So you have to
discretionary.
two resolutions.
Right, one from the IAC for the ARPA funds, and one for his discretionary funds to be used on that same project.
Are we good with consent or what?
so that's fine, because we're all know.
You good?
It's- Yeah.
Two resolutions. One
It's
will
not
be,
any new money.
one will be written up in all that long form, and then the other will be out of his discretion.
Because none of this is new money, this is.
No, it's just, yeah, it's just appropriate money.
Okay. So, got that one. Also, I provided, or had Crystal provide you a copy of the, resolution that was passed about the animal shelter earmarking funds. It was, only had a limit of 6 months on it, and that expires August the 22nd. So that we won't have another, meeting until after that. So if you want a resolution extending that, or however you want to handle it, that's,
Oh, it's for the resolution to extend it for 6 more months.
6 more months.
Y'all want discretion or what?
Consent agenda,
No,
no.
it's not used, I'll just move it over.
So it's new business, all it takes is one.
I just didn't want that to get past you, you know, if you wanted to change that. All right, also, one of the things I had written down was that our next commission work session for September is on Labor Day. That's what it's scheduled for. Now, I tentatively have, and I produced this a while back, but I have a schedule for budget work sessions, and I scheduled one of those for September the 5th, which is a Tuesday. But, and I figured we would have our work session, I was just kind of guessing that we might have our work session on that day and go ahead and do our, first budget meeting on that day as well.
It's September 5th.
That is September the 5th, so do you want to change, agree to change
It's on
on
a Tuesday.
Right.
No, let's, if we're gonna change it, let's make it like 10 o'clock. We're gonna have that,
Have a
and
budget
if you're gonna
and
do
a work
a
session.
budget work session and a meeting work session, let's start earlier. That's, I'm just throwing it out there,
Yeah.
because these budget meetings sometimes last a while.
That's fine, I'll rearrange it.
So you want to do our budget work session and then immediately after that, do a regular work session or vice versa?
I think we go do a regular one first, and then do the budget, but that's, like I said, that's.
10 a.m.
Your work session, your budget can just be in your work session. We all will be in. Because it's, why we have to, have the meetings, work sessions.
10 a.m. August the 5th, right?
September 5th.
I mean September 5th, I'm sorry.
Right, and our, just a reminder to everybody that the regular commission meeting will be on August the 28th this
Yes.
month. Okay. All right, I also got a document that is a long-term detention subsidy contract that, needs to be signed by our chairman, so I imagine that we probably need a, consent agenda item, maybe, allow Ryan to sign this document. With us,
What is the document
it's the
for?
detention,
Is that for the juveniles?
Yes,
yes.
we always vote on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Consent is good?
Consent agenda.
Okay.
Also, just for you to consider, you know, right now, our fireworks tax is 4%. We can charge as much as 8%. The first portion of that, 2% of that 4%, half of what we, not 2% of it, half of the fireworks tax that we get right now gets distributed to the Volunteer Fire Association, and they distribute it amongst the different fire departments. They would still only get that portion out of the 8 cents that can be charged, but we do have the ability to increase that if that is something that you're interested in doing.
So if we increase the fire department and get it, we
No,
will
we
get
go
it.
right in our general fund. We go right back to the fire department's
Why
fund.
couldn't the fire departments just get it?
Yeah, although, it's just the way the law's set up, I can actually give you a copy of the law. It's, and actually, I did not copy for everybody, so,
It sounds like.
I know,
It's just the way they should get it.
that would be up to the legislature to decide something like that. But it's 2 cents per $1 of sales goes directly to the fire departments. And then the remaining net proceeds shall be paid directly to the county general fund.
What are you looking at on top of your head? Honestly.
Well, you know, we had talked about this because of what the fire department, so far this year, they've gotten roughly $10,000. So that means we've been getting 10, we get another 20. We get about $20,000 a year out of it, maybe a little more. So that was figured without the 4th of July stuff, so.
Maybe this is something we need to get the legislature to work on to change it for the fire department.
Well, it would still help the county even if it was divided equally. If they got 4% and we got 4%, it would still help it'd help the county and it'd help the fire departments. So that's something for your consideration. I know that Mr. Hendrick's going to talk back and forth about the fireworks tax several times and
Let's
discussions that worked on.
task the attorney to give us his opinion about that. Whether he can only do the 2 cents to the fire department, or where we could go 50.
I think he'd do it without a resolution, y'all agree with that? He'd probably do it without a resolution, kind of asking to do it, okay?
But if you don't write it down, we'll forget.
I just make sure I keep it on my list, but. And I believe, I've got your budget timelines, I have it on my list to give you, and then we're going to get an abstract from Joyce, and I think that's everything that I have.
Any other questions, go ahead.
Well, it's not really a question. I forwarded y'all an email about a grant writer. The lady called me and wanted everybody to consider it. And I told her I would just forward it to everybody. I don't know if she's any good or her company's any good or not, but.
Yeah, I saw the email, I had,
I'm gonna get until I get my phone fixed.
I did read it,
It goes to my laptop, so
pretty impressive,
make sure.
pretty expensive too.
It's Aaron. Actually, the co-owner of the company is yeah. So, but anyway, I told her I would forward it to everybody.
So I
We're missing out on a lot of opportunities by not having a grant.
I know, and, you know, a week doesn't go by without me checking any different websites. I'm trying to put as many filters as I can out there. You just don't get all the information that's an actual grant writer. And we've got someone that will write grants for us if we need to, but they don't actually actively search for grants for you.
I think that's the problem.
That is-
Problem, we don't have anybody that's scouring the.
Yeah, they have such a big turnover. Is the problem is that they do, you know, I was at the DECA meeting last week. They're just having so many turnovers. But that was one of the things that was discussed, the grant process.
now, we ready to move on? Anything else? Mr. Trustees,
I mean, flooding issues do you have now?
It's coming. I got another issue. So August, I've got to get a county transportation plan passed. So that's roughly $1 million. Need to figure out what roads y'all want me to get you estimates on, and I'll do the same way we done last time. I'll get you, a list, and y'all can go through and figure out what we're gonna do, but I kinda need to get y'all's ideas, so I can get estimates of what you'd like to do, possibly how we split that money and
As long as it's fair.
get that situated. And I thought about that, and I said if we do split 3 or we split 4, we can get that figured out. But we got to be past that, whether it's at the commission meeting or a special meeting. That's got to be done in August. I am also opening maintenance bids next week, so the next meeting I will have the annual maintenance bid recommendations to be voted on, and then the garbage contracts. Jason tells me he should be wrapped up tomorrow with those, so hopefully we'll get those be signed pretty quick, but he should finish them up by lunch tomorrow, he said, so.
Let me ask you something on the new contract. This is the issue. How are we holding them to, if they charge a customer for 4 pickups a month, and they only pick up 2, that customer has the right to ask for a credit, do they not?
They do.
In our contract, anywhere does it say that they're responsible to give that customer that credit?
It is, but the customer has to call and request it.
Okay, and that's fine, because we have those issues, and the customers are not getting the credit. And I just want to make sure it's in our contract that we are telling them, if you miss these customers, you have to give them a credit.
As long as
They don't pick up within the 7 days.
right, within the 7 days.
Within those 7 days.
That's
you
right.
know, if they go to the next week and pick up garbage that's been there 2 weeks, rightfully they owe them for a week.
That's right.
Okay.
But you have to call them, that's all in the law.
But you got to call.
And the customers are calling, but they're not getting the credits.
Some states, and it's just not garbage, it's anything, they have to automatically give you that, but in Alabama, the law says you have to call them, which I don't know why.
And that's what I tell my customers.
Yeah.
You ask for your credit, ask for your credit.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure it's in our contracts on it.
All right, I know what you're saying.
And they are putting out new cans, correct?
Will anybody get new kids? I had said something along the lines of doing inspections, can inspections, and they said they just prefer to replace it.
The truck keeps wrapping them.
We got a winner right now. Karen Bush.
The fire department garbage, so I get that straightened out.
We, not completely. But when we send the next exemption list, we're just gonna add the fire departments to the exemption list. So that's there.
I'm telling all Mr.
They're
Trash.
still receiving bills.
Mr. Trash.
They're still receiving bills.
Yeah, or the trash, that's what I've been telling them. I called them, they said that we didn't send them the exemption. And I said that, day one.
But I am going to just add their names to the bottom of the exemption list.
Okay, back to transportation plan, this changed the dollar to mileage, tar and gravel or whatever.
So we talk ballpark, we're right at $1 million, so if y'all are at 330,000 apiece roughly, that'll get you 1.5 miles of asphalt or about 3 miles worth of tar and gravel. That's patching level in the tar.
tar and gravel has a longer lifespan than the asphalt.
No, your asphalt, you're looking at 12 years, 12, 15 years on asphalt, and tar and gravel, you're 17 years. So there is, well, I mean, we've got asphalt that's 4 years old, and we've got tar and gravel that's 4 years old. That's just,
More recycle, put in there, shorter the life, too.
more recycle we put in, asphalt shorter, it's one. That's not what you look at. It's, you can do a project, patch and level and tar and gravel, and you don't, unless you just got a mile and a half road somewhere, it's gonna be hard to do this.
No, we can't afford asphalt.
And that's what, we'll know, I'll know after next week, till asphalt's going to the ground, and it'll go up on next year.
I think since 35's got the gravel off of it, people are more pleased with it. So it's solid.
And that's, most of the roads in the county are tar and gravel, they just don't realize it till that low stuff. And that's
I heard some people bragging about 35. How nice it looks.
I took a meeting for a couple of weeks there.
Yes. It looks nice.
And this weekend, we had a convention to go to, and Blaine broke my vehicle, and he said, "Oh my Lord, look how many dents you got." I said, "I'm driving this around, people know that they're not the only one that has windshield that's been damaged."
Lee, did you say your transportation plan has to be approved this month, or is it in September?
It's that property, this one.
This month?
This month.
Okay, so that needs to go on the agenda, this was a resolution.
Yeah, so there'll be a resolution for the county transportation plan, and there'll be a resolution on the next phase. So we'll all have to do new business, so we'll have to fill in the blanks.
Get your truck. Does it work in the rain?
Is it what?
Does it work in the rain?
It's moving, we're gonna find out what it is, or what it sounds. I did find it. Speaking of equipment though, the one-man pothole factory that I wouldn't expect until December, tractor equipment called, and somebody somewhere has declined one, and I probably gonna end up with that thing for $1 million.
That's what I was talking about. I thought you done got it.
No, I got some right now. The crew truck. Yes, so pothole patching truck, we should have by then. So that'd be good, we'll actually get to use it some this year.
We'll have to use it probably up to October.
I mean, probably won't need it really. So we'll be able to get use of it.
It heats the stuff, I mean.
It does. You got your air temperature, you know, see, gotta be 40 and rising, you need to.
If you got the money in your budget, we need to do something like that.
It'll probably, to come out of the public transportation fund, it'll probably be one of them I have to borrow and pay back. Because
I think that's what we had talked about before, that he almost had that one paid off, and he was just going,
I think you are paid off.
well, my motor grader's coming out of it at the moment, so.
What about the grinder? Good, good.
I ain't gonna say it's kaput. It's, it is in the shop. The main drive on the drum is what it boils down to. When you drop it in the dirt, it quits spinning. So something in there is slipping. And, they were supposed to have busted it open in the last week. But I haven't heard anything out of it. So I'm waiting to hear on it before I do too much there.
you know, any update on 57?
Got contractors lined up. Asphalt guys are telling me for the patch and leveling portion of it, they're pretty much coming to Cleburne County because they got 57, they got several other ones to do as well, within about 6 weeks. So hopefully by the end of September, we'll have a patch and level around on it. Then it's just gonna come down to how, yeah, temperature on the tar and gravel. And I ain't gonna guarantee that may not be pushed to springtime just 4.5 miles. So, but so it should be.
Keep our eyes on that patch and level though, because, there's some spots in there, I want to make sure they get, they don't over, because on 66, there's some that was missed.
Yeah.
That's right.
So hopefully, we'll get the level done this year anyway. So,
Off the top of your head, on 63, how much short might we be on that?
I have to have it all back in front of me, just too many numbers.
That's okay, then you can talk.
I was gonna say, I'll get it, but I can't say.
Got some problem, I have to use some of my
To do
fuel
it,
tax.
to do it.
But that 500 something thousand ain't gonna do it.
Any other questions? Let y'all know that Mr. Damon Farmer come out with the auction by Pierce to see this little school, Hopewell School. And we'll try to get one other auction company to come out and look, and we'll have at least 3. We've had 2 proposals, but their proposal still stands, but they won't come out and view it.
That's amazing that you attended.
We did attend the meeting. They are gonna meet on the 14th, it's my understanding. Is that right, Terry? On the 14th of this month to decide if they can work something out. The group there with the Arts Council here that has a 501c3, I think it's they'll see if they really want to accept it on behalf of them or work something out, change the name. There's a whole lot of wait and see, and decide whether I don't know the crew that was there that night. It was hard to tell if that was something they really wanted to take on. I know there's probably 2 or 3 in that group for sure that will take it on, but does that merit?
I think most of them are side city.
Yeah. Does that mean that the 50, this group of here, do they want to take on the responsibility of it? Because if you're taking on something that you're going to have a lot of fundraisers and somebody's going to have to be in charge, really. So I think it's a good idea to at least get another proposal. And, but I showed Mr. Farmer and took him inside and upstairs. Let me see.
Hopefully they'll be able to save it. Keep it.
How about, board of registrars, did you get that straightened out?
For legalization.
Equalization, registrar.
I actually got a form back from them, I did send, the document back to them that had been signed and everything. They sent out affidavits of eligibility to serve that say each person, each of those 3 people have to fill out and sign. So,
Each
no,
of us, or each of the people?
each of the people that are being nominated. So I've got, addresses for those folks, Brian had me get those addresses to go on the form that I sent in, so I guess the best way is to send it to mail it out to them. I don't have contact information for any of these people.
Well, they're not at the nights every day, or every other week, or something like that.
They come in to be sworn in, I have to swear them in. They have to take an oath just like you all do.
They only serve one time a year. We don't have a full-time board of equalization. They serve one time a year when property notices are sent out with the new evaluations. And I'm sorry if I'm speaking out of turn.
No, you're fine, you're fine.
But they're sent out then, and if we have anybody that signs up for a board hearing, those 3 board members would sit and hear that complaint about either their taxes are too low or they're too high. Depending on what their reasoning is, it's usually the taxes are too high. Well, the values are too high. They don't listen to taxes, they listen to values. And I apologize because we don't get any of this information until it's almost to the point of they're saying, hey, you've got a deadline now. And we have our district supervisors who will reach out to our state person in our office who then reaches out to us. And all of that was done while I was going to conference, that they were, hey, we're down to the wire and these folks haven't sent their paperwork in. Well, it wasn't a matter of they sent paperwork, they didn't send the affidavit saying that these people would serve. I think it's what the affidavit from the Board of Equalization members that would serve.
Right.
That's correct.
This affidavit's actually their eligibility. All it says is basically answer questions if they reside in the county and that.
Right.
And they just attest for that.
And that's a new form.
That's it.
And that is a new
I didn't know
form.
that.
Yes.
So
And,
it's
and
all
we
new to
did,
me.
and we did not either, but that's what I was saying, that when they said that there were new forms, I was like, if you want us to get on the ball with this, the state has to do a better job too. But let me just tell y'all that the state revenue department has had so many turnovers in the last 3 months, not even going back 6 months. I'm telling you, it's just left over right, moving up the chain, people retiring, getting out, and it has been a cluster, to say the
What's
least.
the fastest way to have these people to just come up here and do it? Or to go to Joyce's office and do it?
They can come to my office and do it, I don't have a problem, they're going to have to, eventually have to be,
But if they fill this out, then can they turn around right and then go to you, be sworn in at the same time?
Yes.
You have to send that in first?
I think you gotta send that in first, the state is gonna approve or disapprove those people.
But what I'm saying is for going to your office.
It's gonna be 2 visits.
These people,
Yes, they can come to my office and the notary there will stamp that they signed in front of her, and after they answer all those questions, if there's a notary, there's no need for that notary, it's just no witness.
No witness.
Then how's that an affidavit? I don't have a clue. Anyways, okay.
I honestly think you could swear him in.
Yeah, I think you
It
could too. I think you could too. And some of these folks were not even up. I noticed one of them just was reinstated in 22, so I don't even understand. I guess it's just the new paperwork. I assume. Who knows? I'm not in charge.
I just know that you know them all.
Yes, and I'd be happy for them to come into the office or me take it to them at this point.
Can you contact them a lot quicker than I feel like?
Yes, Brandy Oden has them quick dial on her phone and she can send out
I think
that
that
information and have that.
I just didn't know any other way.
So if you need me to take those, I'll be happy to.
All right, thank you.
Just add a little bit more to you, John.
Yeah, I don't have anything going on, a 6-year audit and nothing.
But I just know since you and me, anyway.
I've been working on your 6-year audit
Yeah,
too.
that's 6-year audit. Yeah, you've been working on my 6-year audit too, haven't you?
Yes. And then figure out something else for you here.
Hey, they're almost done now.
They are, they said, I think they'll be done tomorrow.
When you're that good.
It's been
See?
All right, anything else? Ladies and gentlemen.
I'd like to say something about this draft ordinance, the sewage ordinance. I have a copy, and we agree that we need to start work on this ordinance. Jason provided us a draft, and all the commissioners need a print copy to mark up. Lee needs one. We need to give one to the city sewage authority, because a lot of this pertains to inside the city, you know. I assume there are people inside the county on city sewage that are not in the city limits. Is that a good statement or not?
I don't know that.
You have on the city sewers that are not in the city limits, but
Okay.
they're in the,
They're not in the city limits?
they're annexing it.
Okay.
Are they in the jurisdiction?
They're in the police jurisdiction.
Yeah,
And
the
all
police
that,
jurisdiction.
and all that
Because,
changed.
because your city, like the Loves, all of them are outside the city.
No, they're in the city limits.
Well, why is the city limits,
They were annexed into the city limits.
They were annexed in.
That's part of the city. That is not what you're talking about. Those are two different things.
Okay. Yeah, they're all, everything out there and going down.
I would say there's probably a lot of places that are in city limits that are not hooked up to sewage.
But any kind of deal we're gonna do has nothing to do with inside the city limits.
Right.
They have a mile and a half jurisdiction, police jurisdiction, that
That's-
everybody has to pay
but
half
they're-
of their sales tax. I mean,
But that may be changing.
oh, that, oh, okay.
Remember's having an issue, and they're talking about that, because they can't collect tax in police jurisdiction no more.
That's great.
So that's hurting.
Shouldn't have. Just not be.
But that's something to ask.
If they live out in the county and they're on the city sewage, then this does pertain. It will pertain. That's why I said, if we need to go through the,
It's done.
water authority up there, Headland, let them review it, and make sure there's nothing
That's-
there that they can't live with or whatever. What do you think?
And did you print one of those off for all of us to have?
The septic ordinance.
The one that,
I have read the one copy, but I have one, I don't have it printed on for anyone.
we had asked?
You can find it, May 14th email from Ms. Rose on May 14th.
So we need to ask someone with the city if there's anybody on the county that's on sewage, on their city sewage. Is that what you want to find out?
Well, I want them, the sewer board, to review this.
Oh, okay. Okay, we can get that to them. I can get that when we get a review. If you, is that a copy? Can I get a copy of that? And I'll get it. I'll
I'll
get that.
get a copy of
It's in your
this if you want it. And Lee needs to review it too.
Yeah.
He'll be one of the main players.
I saw a hard copy of it when I called when I got in there, but I'll look to see, since Mr. Hill gave me the date on it.
Anything else?
I mean, I don't know what Rember's gonna do. I know there's a lot of talk among the city council that they're gonna quit doing the police jurisdiction. Which that's gonna hurt John if they do that. I don't think they have.
It ain't their decision, they gonna have to. There's some kind of survey that was sent out, I think in 2021. And it's something, I don't know, it's something to do with businesses that are in the jurisdiction. It's because it's something, they pay a certain percentage tax to the city to get the police coverage in the jurisdiction. Well, they failed, I don't know if they didn't fill it out or it wasn't sent to them, but somehow the survey didn't get filled out. Well, now they're saying they can't control the police jurisdiction. If they do, they're not gonna get the money, the tax revenue off of it.
I read the letter and all that stuff, but how is it gonna affect you?
We're gonna have to-
They legally can't go outside the city limits now,
No, we just want to pick up the jurisdiction because
so there is no police jurisdiction.
No, it's just the city
When city limit signs right there, that's as far as they go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somewhere, some rep or senators did it in South
Yes.
Alabama.
Yeah, I think Baldwin County, I think it's Senator Ellis or something like that.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which I-
There's a business, well, I was told there's a business down there, he was paying the, like, whatever the percentage was, the tax, but he couldn't vote in the city election.
That's right.
It's got members stirred up because they're losing the feed bill.
Yeah. I think there's a total of 3 businesses, I think they're losing. Yeah.
All right, anything else? So we meet on the 28th, right? And we got that posted and well, if I can talk to somebody, Ms. Cobb, you get my truck and pull it up close.
Oh, sure, yeah, you just sit right there and wait.
Just wait on it.
Wait.
Yeah.
No, you hear
It's
the
a
tires
Dodge.
squeal, you hear the tires squealing, y'all stay in.
It's a Dodge. Did you go get my Dodge up there? I'm just
And
kidding.
see how well it turns around in the parking lot at 80. done that in a while.
All right, well, thank you all. I guess, Vic, we are complete. We know where we're going. You need to give us an up real quick.
I can run you a list right quick. Consent agenda, add Sire Downs as deputy coroner. IAC resolution for County Road 63. Discretionary funds for County Road 63. And for,
Well, if you're really gonna call that discretionary funds,
It was just put in, it was just
Make
put
it
in
discretionary fund.
discretionary, because the discretionary is separate.
that's what I'm saying, I don't know that you need to say it's discretionary.
I just thought it was
Resolution.
because it actually said on the resolution that we moved the money from our, reserve account over to discretionary for each of the commissioners, so that's,
Is that how we did it?
I'm pretty sure I'll look at the wording of it, but. I'm sure
Whatever
it's
it's at, you just done it.
Yeah, I don't guess it really matters, but I didn't think that's the way we did it, but
Okay,
whatever.
all right. And then the last one is for Ryan to sign the Department of Youth Services contract. That's on consent agenda. And then I have on the new business, I have the deputy changes, there's 2 resolutions for that. And then the animal shelter extended the deadline on it, and then the transportation plan.
What about the corners?
It's on.
It was on consent.
I missed that.
It was the first one, consent.
Like maintenance bids, is that going new business?
Yeah.
Maintenance bid.
Maintenance bids, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 of those, right? And then 2
Yeah.
resolutions?
One for the county transportation, the other one's for the maintenance.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey,
You didn't know.
the juvenile deal, are we staying with the same folks on that, or is price going up, or?
She's got to, yeah, I think it's everything the same.
I didn't see any actual numbers on here. This is all I have on it. It just says that it's got the timing on it, and it's got, it doesn't have any number on it.
I can get
I
Jonathan,
mean, I've got these figures on it, because it's got a budget.
I'll get Jonathan to come to the next meeting, how's that sound?
Is that it?
Yes, sir, I'm good with this, everybody else, all minds clear? All right, we stand adjourned.